House and the Senate both, we're going to work with them to try to find a solution. The main thing is whatever the resources are to pay for it, I'm open to that and changes made, but we got to stay focused on getting something done. We got to get something across the finish line for the state of Missouri, and I'm going to stay focused on infrastructure and workforce development like I started. But I'm really optimistic that we're going to get something done on infrastructure before the end of the session.
Is $100 million enough?
No, I don't think it is. It's not, and I'm not sure that obligation to do. You know, the plan that we put out there was for $350 million, and I think to really have an impact, that's what you got to look at. I think the question now is between the House and the Senate. I believe everybody's in agreement of the plan. Something needs to be done. It's just how you pay for it.
Now, also on infrastructure, John Colley's in the state last week. He visits with the people in Northwest Missouri. They give him an earful about core policy and river management. He goes back to Washington, meets with the Secretary of the Army, gets a separate meeting set up, and then is very critical of the Corps and their management of the river. Decisions being sometimes political and not environmental. You now have written an op-ed piece on this same subject. Do you share the Senator's feelings that decisions from the Corps are too often political and not enough environmental?
Yeah, I think definitely we got to take a look at the way they're managing the rivers of the state. Matter of fact, next week I'm meeting with the governor of Iowa and the governor of Nebraska for all of us to kind of get together and kind of figure out what is the management of the river and what's changing here. Why are we having these floods? And is it all due to Mother Nature, or is some of it created by man or by the Corps of Engineers in this case? How are they managing these rivers, and are their policies up to date? And I think the one thing that we all realize is, you know, we all want to be environmentally sensitive of wildlife and everything else, but the reality of it is you can't put that before human life and property. You know, so we got to figure out what's going on with these rivers. But right now, I think there needs to be a really good, in-depth conversation with the Corps engineers to find out what's going on here and how these levees are, you know, breaching and what's going on here down the river. Because I don't think we've changed the policy in a long time on the Corps. But if you're going to own it, if you're the one who's responsible for it, then you dang well can't be protecting people and property.
Do you have specific changes to recommend?
Yeah, I think we're going to be talking to them about some changes. But I want to talk to the other governors. I want to see what problems they're facing in their states. But I think if we all work together as state governors, we can figure out a solution to this.
Governor, what power do governors have in this regard, and do you have any concrete plans?
Yeah, I think governors, I think across this country have a lot of power anymore, because even in the political process in Washington, D.C., I don't think anybody up there is too much wanting a lot of governors upset at them trying from the local levels, especially when you're talking about the Missouri River that comes all the way across the country. You know, when all of a sudden all the governors are saying it's a problem, somebody's going to listen. And I believe they will. I believe they already know there's a problem.
But 2011 came and went. That was 9 years ago. Governors were upset then, and here we are today.
Well, I think we are, and I think even the Congress is starting to get a little bit more engaged in this. I know I talked with Senator Blunt and Congressman Smith and some of the other colleagues I've had a chance personally to talk to. But you had 2011, you had 2015, and all of a sudden here we go again. And the problem that I see with a lot of this is that the snow and the ice that they're referring to in the Dakotas, that hasn't took place yet. That melting hasn't occurred yet. So I'm really concerned where we're going to be in another 30, another 45 days in this state. How bad is this going to get? And not to be able to give the people some sort of idea that hey, this thing could get worse, and when you have these levee breaches already there, do you even have the possibility of going in and fix it between you have another flood? So there's a lot of concerns.
Sorry, as you know, Undersecretary Northey is in Northwest Missouri today and Southwest Iowa. Will you get a briefing from him?
Yeah, I think we'll be reaching out to them to find out what some of that was today. But I think he was here more on a fact-finding mission too. But I think what we're all hearing is we want the Corps of Engineers at the table, and we want to know what the plan of it is, and we want to know what the federal government, what are the engagements you're going to have in this. And I'm not talking about FEMA and just helping clean it up. I'm talking about what are we going to do to change the course of business. And I think because of all these other events, you know, now is the time, and I think a lot of us governors are finally going to pull together and say, look, how do we fix this problem?
Will there be a climate change conversation?
You know, I'm not sure what that conversation, and for me it's putting everything on the table as possible to say, okay, what's really occurring here, what's happened, and really look more of it on a scientific, on a factual basis, and just figure out what are we putting as priorities in this, and whether we're doing artificial rises in the river, whether we're truly protected species that are out there, what are we doing?
I'll take one more, sir. Go ahead.
Governor, state revenues are not meeting expectations. Net general revenue is down 4.3%. Individual income tax receipts are down 8.4%, $450 million. Are you still confident that revenue is going to meet projections?
Yeah, I'm not sure where it's going to end up, but I think revenue is going to get better. I think it's just the nature of where we are this time of the year. I think the big question for all of us will be, is when April comes here, a little after April, to see really where we're at. I think a lot of predictions and a lot of statements are being made by a lot of people right now. But I think it's a little too early to say where we're going to be. But yeah, I don't know if we're going to make the 1.7% that we predicted or where that's going to be. But I don't think anybody knows right now. But I don't think it's going to be a $400 million deficit and things like that. I don't.
Okay, thank you. We've got a lot.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
your time,
Thank you.
sir.